Welcome to the RSP Boiler Room. I'm Matt Waldman with Rookie Scouting Portfolio. Travis Etienne, circled here, had a monster night, 12 carries, 205 yards, and 3 touchdowns against Georgia Tech in their opener. Fantastic effort, right? Absolutely. This is even a nice little effort, even though on a loss. I mean, nice little spin move, right? Quickness, balance, touch, be able to get past this linebacker, get to see the athletic ability there. Yeah, well, you know what? I like that, but that doesn't make running backs, okay? The athletic ability is only a small part of the equation. The thing that's underrated and really less discussed about running back is the diagnostic aspect of the game, how well they process information, because they aren't just dumb brutes who are instinctive that any running back will do. I know a lot of people like to kind of intimate that idea at some points, but it's not true. Running backs have to read the field. They have to know some things pre-snap. And they have to make decisions pre-snap, post-snap in ways that will be helpful to their team and make mature decisions to help their team when thinking about how you manage the game. And this is a good example of that. This is an outside zone run. You're going to see the wing back play more basically tight end, and the block are going to be to this outside, and it's going to allow the running back to work to that area towards the tight end and make a decision to either cram it behind the tight end, cut back inside of the play to the backside, or bounce it outside. Those are the three options: an outside zone or wide zone, however you want to call it. As he gets to this point, he should be reading what the defense is doing. In fact, he should be doing this before the snap. Before the snap, he should be looking at how the defense is aligned. How many defenders are going to be to the left side of the line on this zone play, this outside zone play? Well, you've got 1, 2, 3, 4 blockers if you count the center. You've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 defenders who are going to be in the area of this play, who are likely going to be there. And that means you've got a 5-on-4 advantage, or 4-on-4 with the running back against one of these defenders. So it's even at best. Is this necessarily the best play to run where you're going to cram behind the tight end or bounce outside the tight end? I'd say the answer is probably not. You might want to be looking at least a little bit for the cutback, meaning that you want to read your linebacker, your defensive end, and most likely this defensive back before the snap. See where that guy's inching in a little bit. Okay, maybe I need to take care of that. And then post-snap, between the point that I'm working towards the exchange and to taking that exchange, so that I can see whether or not this tackle's going to come off this double team and be able to reach block this linebacker. Will he reach that linebacker? Well, as he's taking the exchange right here, he should see whether or not that's going to happen. And based on what we see here, that looks pretty impossible for the tackle to get off here to reach that. He should see this linebacker at the second level enough of him to know it's not going to get blocked. Maybe I should cut back. 1st and 10, obviously you might take more chances here, try to bounce it outside and use your athletic ability in the college game. But listen, in the NFL, it's about keeping a positive game schedule, down and distance schedule, so that you don't put your team in 2nd and long, 3rd and long, make unnecessary losses. So this is a situation where he could get some positive yards, because again, if he looks back at this center and instead of taking a long stride here, he just takes a short stride with his toe pointed towards the center and then turns his hip with the outside foot back downhill, he can be heading behind the center and have a two-way go against the center and the nose tackle. And there's a crease here. You can see the crease being blocked by that fullback here, or wing back. And you can see a defender coming up, or a blocker working up. It looks like the guard working up towards this backside linebacker. He might get a nice little opening here, or be able to cut it back inside to the right of the center, and maybe at least pull through a reach of this backside pursuit and get positive yards, or at least end up with no gain. But I think he gets 1 to 2 yards out of this if he does this. But instead, he immediately bounces outside, and now he's got to outrun the linebacker, which he does. But now he has to stop his feet trying to cut downhill against a cornerback who's pretty quick, knows that's not going to happen. Now that he's stopped his feet, in the NFL, when you stop your feet, you're basically giving those big 300-pound behemoths who run just as quickly as you do in a 10-yard span, 2 to 3 extra steps to come get you. And even in the ACC, you're going to have 5 defenders who are going to be in the area now after you've spun off, and you're basically going to get gang tackled. So this isn't exactly a great decision by Travis Etienne. Now, everybody makes bad decisions, even some of the top running backs do on occasion. But you want to start looking for is a pattern. Does he always try to bounce things outside? Is he not disciplined about taking the smaller gains or minimizing losses in certain situations? And this is a case where you should minimize the loss by reading what's happening here and just reading that the linebacker is going to be unblocked and try and cut it back inside. He may end up with a bigger play. Jonathan Taylor wound up with a big play on an inside run where the crease got compromised. He was able to stop, start, and avoid a defender and then squeeze through a secondary crease for a huge gain for his 4th touchdown against South Florida the other night. But this is a type of play where Etienne tries to rely too much on his athletic ability, and you just don't want to see that. Now let's take a look at another play with Etienne where he's used on a counter play. Counter play, you're going to have 2 pullers. You're going to have this wing back and you're going to have the guard, and they're going to pull to the outside, little step to the left side for Etienne there to get the action for the linemen and linebackers to work towards the left and then work back towards the right side. Now what happens here is Etienne is not patient enough. He's not patient enough, and he gets wrapped up right here by this defender coming off of the fullback. And why is that? Well, Etienne, for number one, doesn't set up his blocker well. He runs a little too fast towards the blocker, and he should have a two-way go here. So at this point, he's getting a little close to this blocker. Try to work that a little bit more to the inside. If you can work it to the inside, take smaller steps. He's trying to do that, but he already took such a big approach that taking that smaller approach, that those smaller steps would have still been helpful here, because the defender, he could have either lured to work inside and then he bounce outside, or he continued to work that hip. The defender tries to work inside, when the defender tries to work outside, and then he can cut it back inside. But one of the things you notice here is that Etienne makes the decision before the blocker reaches the defender. So he's not setting up this block well because he's not taking a shoulder, making the defender work towards the blocker. He's already made his decision right here. And as a result, the defender can just avoid the blocker. And that's what he does. So what you want to see here is Etienne do a better job of slowing down, shortening his strides, or taking an approach that forces the defender in a direction where he can then cut downhill and get inside. Or he can work towards the inside a little bit more here, force the defender to get inside, and then once the defender has to engage 25 at that point, then he can bounce it outside. So what you're seeing from Etienne is a guy who is a little bit more dependent upon being the fastest, quickest guy. He makes some really good decisions, folks. He's an excellent college running back, and he's a good pro prospect, one of the better pro prospects in this class. But even the best pro prospects that I've seen, over the years, from a class-to-class basis, even some of the better ones, sometimes don't have the maturity to set up blockers as well as they should. And this is a good example for Etienne, so that when you start looking at box scores and you say, wow, Etienne's great, he posted 205 yards on 12 carries, yeah, he's a great college running back. But when you start watching about what you should expect from an NFL running back, these 2 plays aren't it. These 2 plays are the types of things that he's going to need work on so that he can become a consistent yardage producer in the NFL, and that when coaches put him in the game, they know that he's going to get them positive yards or minimize losses and not take unnecessary losses trying to go for the big play because he just believes athletic ability is it, when defenders at the highest level are going to be just as quick as he, who are going to be just as smart as he is, maybe even smarter. So he's going to have to lean on setting up his blocks, letting his blockers do their job, and then making a cut one way or the other off of it. He does that, he can be a terrific NFL back. Thanks again for watching. For more RSP Boiler Room videos, you can check out my YouTube channel, Matt Waldman's RSP Film Room, and my site, www.mattwaldmanrsp.com.